I'm a collector of multiple things, not just cars, memorabilia, toys. I've been a collector for 40 years.
He values certain things and wants the best of the best. He has a discerning eye. He's discriminating. He knows what to buy, knows what to pay for it, and then after he owns it, he makes sure that it is maintained and presented to perfection.
What generally strikes me is originality. Early on, it was low mileage original cars. It was original unrestored toys. It was original memorabilia that wasn't touched up. Collecting for me was mostly about the stuff and to try and get the best stuff in that category that I could possibly get. When I went into the race car market and started collecting rare historic race cars, the originality certainly was not the major driver because it's more the understanding the evolution and the pedigree of the car.
Just about every car in his collection has some level of rarity to it. But to see so many in one place owned by one gentleman, I think is really very impressive.
As a younger kid, I always admired Corvettes.
The Corvette was the magic carpet. That was the car we all wanted to own, we wanted to attain. So many of us at the time couldn't afford them. Yeah, my skin tingles when I come in and I see John Justo's collection of Corvettes, and you can be impressed by them on any number of levels. Rarity, history, condition, you put it all together, and you know that you're gonna have to search far and wide to find a collection that provides all of those ingredients all under one roof. It was really an exciting time for road racing here in America as the Corvette was growing up. It was evolving. It was becoming a world-class car year by year. In 1963, Chevrolet General Motors produced what is considered by many to be the first factory, ready-to-race production car, the Corvette Z06. 199 of them were built. They all came with fuel injection, special suspension, special brakes, big fuel tank, 36-gallon fuel tank. There was no secret that these cars were built to race. The Gulf Corvette, if you want a Z06, that's the one that you want to have.
These cars were special. They were special made, a lot of special engineering to them. You'll see modifications to the front of the car, to the hood. There's cutouts on the hood, and there's a orange wind jam on the hood. A lot of modifications to the engine compartment. Larger fuel tank. The neck of the fuel tank was pushed up. Just a ton of performance modifications and body modifications to the car that made it unique. And so that car today, because of the way it was found and because of the modifications that were done that you can visually see in pictures from 1963, still existed on the car when the car was found, obviously helped give everybody the assurance that that car was the real Gulf One car from 1963. The 1961 tanker, it's a big tank, fuel injected, heavy duty suspension, big brake, 5.5-inch wheel, production race car. They only made 25 of those cars.
These cars had drum-style brakes, but they had larger diameter brake drums on them, hence big brake, which made them more competitive during racing. But when I look at this car, this 1961 Corvette, it does take me back to the day when Corvettes were the standard bearer in club-level racing.
The next car in the collection is the 1960 Reed Rat Racer. Say that 10 times. It's a 1961 big tank, big brake fuel injection car.
Has all of the go-fast pieces that were being produced for the Corvette at that time. And any Corvette that can win at Sebring back in the day is an indication of just how formidable it was.
The cars that it beat were Briggs Cunningham and the Camaraderie cars. All those cars went to Le Mans. This car beat those significant race cars with significant people behind that program. This car beat it in 1960 at Sebring.
When we talk about Corvettes back in that era that were big tank, big brake cars, the 1962 car Significant for a couple of reasons. First of all, its performance is unquestioned. But 1962 was the last year for the solid axle Corvettes. In 1963, the independent suspension came in.
Not as rare as 1960 when they made 10, but still, only 65 of them were made as a factory race car with all the race components that you could go right to the track and run the car the next day. I also have two 1957 Corvette race cars. The airbox car is currently restored to its original GM showroom condition.
Fabulous restoration, just an incredibly fastidiously prepared car, and it has that extremely rare airbox unit on it, one of a handful that were built and still exist today. I know that the 57 Corvette in full race livery is a real favorite of John Justo. When it was raced back in the day, it kind of looked like a basket case. It got beat up pretty well over the years, but that's actually a feather in the cap of a race car.
This car has been raced to the ground. So the car today is as raced. It has an airbox on it, but it's not a factory airbox car. It is a factory 684 car, which means it does have the air induction going from the front of the car to the back of the car, but without the airbox on the driver's side. But currently there is an airbox installed on the car. It still is a fun car, and it still is a race car from day one, and it's got great provenance with great race car drivers and Corvette collectors.
These cars generated the imagination of people, but you cannot discount the fact that racing today really has to give a lot of gratitude to the people and the cars that are represented in John's collection.
When you get into the race car world, it's about pedigree. And you can't change that, and you can't duplicate that. And when you get into that pedigreed type of race car, you're now into something that there's not 2 of, there's not 3 of, there's not 10 of. That car stands by itself. The quality of an experience that you get in owning and collecting race cars are going to be something that you've never ever experienced before.